So hello everyone, and today we are going to learn about arrays. So I'm going to take a lead code problem and we are going to merge the arrays. So already these arrays will be sorted and we are going to merge them. Okay, this is a very easy level problem of lead code, and I'm going to show you just how you can solve this problem in just one line. Okay, in just one line you're going to solve this problem, and here you have been given here. So first we are going to discuss what are the inputs, what should be the output with an example, and show you step by step how you can solve this, what approach you should take. So first, here we have been given here two integers, nums1 and nums2. We are also given here two integers. We are given here two arrays. Okay, arrays of integers. List of type int. Okay, so arrays of type int nums1 and nums2, which will only consist of numbers, and two integers m and n. And what is this m and n? M and n are the number of elements in M in the first array and in the second array respectively. So nums1 we have to only consider m elements, and in nums2 we have to only consider n elements, number of elements represent. So now we have to merge nums1 and nums2 into a single array. Okay, in non-decreasing order. What does non-decreasing order mean? Ascending order. Okay, so we are just going to sort them in ascending order, which you can sort using your sorted function or dot sort function as well. Okay, so here the simple sorting is in ascending order always. Okay, so into a single sorted array, and you're going to not return anything to the function. Okay, you're not going to return anything from this function. The value is always none. Okay, so instead what you are going to do is you're going to store the result of the array of the merge. Okay, you're going to store the result of the merge in nums1. So nums1 will be your nums1 plus nums2, whatever you'll get after the process. Okay, and how are you going to accommodate this? You have a nums1 array which is of length m plus n, and where the first m elements denote the elements, and the last n elements are set to 0 and it should be ignored, and nums2 has a length of n. Now I'm going to show you a sample example what approach and how you can solve this. Okay, so yes, what is my okay, so first I'm just going to paste my output as it is. Okay, and I'm going to show you now. First, what are your inputs? Your basic input to the function, as you have seen, is nums1 array and nums2 array. What you're going to consider, and m and n. Okay, and your output, what it should be your output? Your output should be nums1 plus nums2. Okay, but what part of nums1 and nums2 are you going to consider? The problem says that you have to only consider m elements of nums1 array. See, nums1, what is the size of nums1? First we are going to discuss. Size of nums1 is actually, wait a moment. As you can see, from the sample input, we have the sample input which is of size m plus n as it was written. Okay, so the size of my nums1 array initially is actually, and it should be m plus n. Okay, the size of my nums1 array is n plus n. Okay, it is m plus n. Okay, as you can see, the size of my array is m plus n as it was written, and what is m here? It is 3. So just the first 3 elements we are going to consider of nums1. And what is the size of my nums2 array? It is also 3 only. Okay, and what is n? This is also 3. So what I'm going to do is we have to only consider m plus n elements. Okay, so my m plus n here currently is 6. Okay, so my m plus n is currently a 6, but I have to only consider m elements from the nums1 array and n elements from the nums2 array. So I'm going to only consider 3 elements. Okay, yes, I'm going to only consider 3 elements from my nums1 array and I'm going to only consider 3 elements from my nums2 array. Okay, of size m and of size n. So how are we going to do this? We are going to do this. So you have your nums1 array, and we are going to only consider m elements from your nums1 array, and you're going to only consider n elements from your nums array. And how can you do this in Python? If you want to select only the elements from your start till m and only the elements of size n, you are going to use slicing. I have used slicing. Okay, so a good approach would be to use slicing, list indexing in Python, nums1 and nums2. Okay, nums1 and nums2 array, and that will be your final nums1 array. Okay, and after you merge these two, okay, you merge these two arrays, you're going to sort them. Okay, you're going to run a sort function over them. Okay, sorted nums1, or you can also use other function which is nums1 dot sort. You can use this function as well, and you'll get the sorted array after the merge. Okay, now take for example another example, sample input and output from this problem. Your nums1 array it contains only one element, and how many elements do you want to consider in your m? M should be 1. Okay, and what is your nums2? N is 0. Okay, so m plus n, you have to only consider one element from your nums1 array and 0 elements from your nums2 array. Okay, so if I'm going to do this as well on the same sample, I'm going to only consider m elements, that is 1. I'm going to only consider one element from my nums1 array. Okay, and I'm going to consider only 0 elements from my nums2 array. So what will this be? 0, and here it will be 1. So from 0 to first element, that is only one element, and from 0 to 0 element, from 0 to 0 index, that is what I'm going to do here is I have 1. Okay, I have just 1, and I have this 0. I don't have anything in my nums2 array. Okay, but I'm going to only consider 0 elements from my nums1 array. This is index 0. Okay, and from my nums2 at 0 index there is nothing. Okay, so I'm not going to consider anything from my array, from my nums2 array. I'm only going to consider one one element from my array. So what will be the result of my array? The result of my array is going to be nums1 is going to be nums1 is actually going to be 1 only. Why? Because I'm going to only consider one element from my nums1 array and 0 elements from my nums2 array. And now you can take the sample input from the example 3. You have 0, and in nums2 you have only one element. Okay, and what should be the size of m? It should be 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use indexes. Here what we are doing is we are just using the indexing. That is why we are using splicing. Now suppose my nums1 is actually here what it was. Okay, let me just check the input. Okay, my nums1 was 0 and my nums2 is 1. Okay, now nums1 is equals to 0 and my nums2 is equals to 1. But how many elements should I consider? What is the size of m? M should be 0. So even though on my on my 0th index there is an element, it could be even 1, but I'm not going to consider this because my size, the elements I need to consider from this array is only 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to only consider 0 elements, and what will this be? No elements I'm going to consider from my nums1, and from my nums2 I'm going to only consider first element. Okay, n is equals to 1. So I'm going to use the slicing indexing work, and I'm going to use only 1. I'm going to only use 1 here. Okay, So it is going to only consider the index, the element at index 0. And here it is going to not consider any elements, because I'm only considering up to 0. Now, what is our final function? You could write this in a couple of ways. You can write this in this way as well, that I'm doing this in one line, but you could do the same thing in a different way as well. Nums1, okay. So my entire nums1 is what? It is nums1 bracket till m, as I said, plus nums2 till n. Okay, nums2 till n. Nums2 till n. Correct? So my nums1 is this, and then I'm just going to sort it using the sort function. So nums1 dot sort function. This is an inbuilt function in Python for lists, and this much is also enough. Okay, now I'm going to run this function, and we are going to see what is the output here. Okay, you could run the earlier function as well. Both of them are going to give you the same output as well. Okay. Yes, the runtime is just 0 milliseconds. Your m is 3, your n is 3, your output is 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, and I'm getting the same expected output. Correct? And we are going to submit this code and see what is the time complexity and what is the memory efficiency. Okay. So in runtime it beats 100%, and in memory it beats 33%. Okay. I can also use this as well. I can also use my other submissions as well. I can show you my other submissions, which is this one, where it beats 63% of the memory, where I'm going to use just one line of code, where I'm going to sort this. I'm going to take the result of the merged arrays. I'm going to sort them in one line, and then I'm going to store it in my nums1 array. I could do this as well. Okay. So this is it. Thank you.